Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Winning with Jed. I'm extremely excited to have Jim Remley, the e-real estate coach, one of the top recruiting coaches in the nation here today. How you doing, Jim?
I'm excited to be with you, Jed. I'm just always thrilled and always learn something from you when we're having a conversation. So thank you for letting me be on.
Yeah, of course, of course. Hey, I've got to ask you, how do you have enough time with you probably got like five people you're trying to help recruit right now, probably calling you. How do you have time
Uh,
to spend on this?
it's all priority setting, brother. Time management is priority management. So you're the priority.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Just butter me up. I always say, you know what, you get everywhere with flattery.
That's right.
Hey, tell us for all of our viewers that maybe don't know who you are. I know a lot of people do know who you are, but for those that don't, can you give us a background on you? Who is Jim Remley? Who's this real
Sure.
estate coach guy?
Well, I think backstories can be boring, so I'm going to make it really, really short.
Okay.
Started when I had 35 years in the industry. Don't let that scare you. I'm still out here today, slinging. So, 19 years when I started, I was a college dropout. Worked in a lumber mill, graveyard shift, pulling green chain. For anybody that doesn't know what that is, that's pulling little lumber off a chain. It's just as glamorous as it sounds in the freezing cold of Oregon. But my buddy talked me into get my real estate license, and so I passed and went on and
Oh, wait a minute though. Pause
yeah,
real quick. He
yeah,
talked you into getting a real estate license.
yeah.
You're on an assembly line. You guys are like throwing trees down like an assembly, some conveyor
Yeah.
belt. He's like, "Hey, get a real estate license." No. Yes. Okay.
That,
I mean, like,
that was about it. That was about it. His dad owned a real estate office, and that's how we got in the conversation. And then, you
okay.
know, you know what changed my mind about the whole situation? I was working there for about a year, graveyard shift, and every morning I'd come off I'd come down the hill literally, and there was a big pond there, and the mist would be coming off the pond, and these guys would be coming towards me to do the day shift, and they had to earn the right to do the day shift because they had worked night shift for God knows how long, right?
Uh-huh.
And on their armbands, it would say 30 years, 35 years, 40 years. And I'm
Wow.
thinking, holy crap, I'm going to be doing this 40 years from now because some of these guys had. I graduated high school, went right in, nothing wrong with it, hard work. Hey, God bless them. But I was just like, hey, I got to do something else with my life. I got to do something else. So it wasn't a hard conversation to talk me into doing something
He
else.
talked you into it pretty easily. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't want to do this for 30 years. He talks you into get your real estate license. You get your real estate license, and what happens? You just instantly
So
become successful.
no, I struggled. I sucked when I first got my license, I had $1,500 to my name, and that was a credit line. It wasn't my money. And I thought I had a lot of money, 1,500 bucks. I was driving a Chevy Citation, and failed miserably for 6 months. But what I did right is I listened to a lot of smart people like you, and I started going to back then it wasn't webinars, but seminars, reading books, and just watching the top producers, taking them to lunch, and asking them what they're doing, and then my second year in the business, it all clicked. I took 150 listings my second year, top 1% in the nation. And then from there, opened my first company at 23. I grew that to 17 offices in the state of Oregon. We're the largest independent for quite a while. Sold that. Went to work for NAR for 10 years. Got recruited to come down and help another company grow, which I became an owner in Southern Oregon, beautiful Medford, Oregon, where I'm still at today. And took that company from 30 agents to 250 agents, from $100 million in business to $1.4 billion in sales. And now, drum roll, I'm a recruiting coach, so I help people recruit experienced agents as my specialization. So I think I'm one of the few in the country that's doing that.
That's pretty awesome. That's one reason why I wanted to bring you on is because I think a lot of people, if you're going to have a successful business, you've got to surround yourself with successful people. Would you agree with that? Or
100%. Yeah. You got to be with people smarter than you. If you surround yourself with winners, you're going to become a winner by default.
yeah, I think surrounding yourself, you become like those you hang around, right? So
100%.
you want to make sure that you surround yourself with good people, and sometimes that's making some hard decisions, right?
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
who you are around isn't who you want to be hanging around, right?
Yeah. Well, I always tell agents you sink to the level of mediocrity that surrounds you. So if you're in an office environment and the average agent's doing $2 million a year in production, which is not uncommon, honestly, and you're doing four, let's say you're doing 4 million, everybody's giving you a bunch of pats on the back and saying, congratulations, you got the big award this year. But maybe you're capable of doing 10 million or 20 million or 30 million, but you're surrounding yourself with ducks so you don't fly like an eagle. That's a lot of what happens to people.
There's nothing wrong with ducks. You're from Oregon. Hey.
Only in Oregon is there nothing wrong
Oh, okay. All right.
with
So, surrounding yourself with good people, is that how you accomplished what you did? I mean, you did a lot in a very, I'm going to say a short time.
the first 5 years is the hardest.
Really? Was it?
Yeah, because you kind of got to figure it out. You got to figure out your way. You got to fail first. You fail forward, I should say. Yeah, 100%. But I will say along the way, I always, at every point in my career, I've had a mentor. And I think that's really important. I don't care how successful you are, if you have a mentor. I was just watching somebody talk about that whole concept, Jack Canfield. I was at a seminar of his a while back, and he said the same thing. He was at the top of his game, and he was making, $20 million a year. And he thought, what can I do? He said, well, maybe I should start hanging out with people making $100 million a year and find out what they're doing. They're doing something else that I'm not doing. So we're all at different levels of our business. We just got to level up. It's part of what makes us grow.
That's a really good point. How are you leveling up your business? Do you currently have a mentor that you look up to, or is that
We
something
got
that you're practicing?
absolutely. I have a lot of people I talk to all the time about my business now has shifted to coaching. There's a lot more successful coaches in the world than me. So whenever I'm having inviting them on my podcast, I'll take another half hour, 45 minutes after just for me. I just want to pick their brain and say, okay, what'd you do for this? How'd you handle this? And I learned so much just after the podcast in many cases. It's really interesting. So yeah, absolutely. I'm a big reader. I read probably 20 books a year at least, the nonfiction books. So I'm always reading something and listening to podcasts and talking to people. I think, there was a guy that said this, Charlie Tremendous Jones said this. He said, you're only going to grow based on the books that you read and the people that you meet. So that's how you're going to grow.
Hmm. Have you read the book Shut Up and Win? Have you read that
I've
one?
read that book. It's a fantastic book. I can't recommend it enough. It absolutely changed my life. It's just an incredible book.
I
I like
recruited
it.
like 5, 10 more agents that day.
I
Hey,
think you should, yeah, everybody should go out there and buy that thing.
they should. And you've written how many books? 4 books?
3 books. So
Three
three,
books.
yeah, 3 books.
But you're on your way to your fourth, right?
They asked me after my third book, my publisher came and said, we want you to write another book. And I said, you know what? For me, you're a faster author than I'm sure, but for me, it took 6 hours a day for 6 months to write a book. And I'm sure I was making, less than the coffee that I was drinking per day to produce that book is what I made on my book. So I thought I should spend my time in something else that actually produces profit for my
Well,
family.
and you've definitely found a niche. Let's talk about recruiting people because I
Yeah,
think that there's a lot of businesses that need good people, right?
yeah,
If you
yeah,
want to be successful, you didn't take your real estate company, your independent real estate company, and make it really successful without recruiting some really good talent, right?
absolutely.
And how did you get into the recruiting part? Did you just start making calls and just, you failed forward like you said, or like how did you really get the formula to start recruiting people?
Well, first I fell forward. I'll tell you what I did in the beginning, which I thought was a good idea. And I think a lot of brokers can identify with this is when I was a brand new broker, I was 23, 24, opened my first company. It was me and my buddy and an assistant. We didn't have anything. And I thought, well, I'm going to recruit new agents. And so I'm just going to go do an ad in the newspaper back then. We do it online today. And I'm going to go rent a conference room at a hotel and I'm going to get it up and give everybody the rah rah about why they should get the real estate license. And I did that every month for 5 years straight, my first 5 years owning my company. And I would fill up the room with 20, 30, 40, 50 people. And I'd usually get 4, 5, 10 that would say, yeah, I want to get my license. A few would finish. I'd hire a few, maybe one or two a month. And I grew my company. It was a slow, painful slog up the mountain. But what I figured out was that after 5 years, because I'm a slow learner, that 87% of those agents are going to fail. Because that's the attrition rate in real estate, right? So
Yeah.
you spend all this time and energy and effort going after these new agents. You train them, you give them love and attention, you take their calls after hours on the weekends, and 8 out of 10 of them are going to fail. And then you're left with two. And one of those two inevitably is going to say, I love you, Jim, but because I started with you, I got to go see if the grass is greener somewhere else. So now you're left with 1 out of 10. And I thought, I had this epiphany one morning, like, I'm going to stop doing this. This is stupid. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to go after experienced agents who've already been vetted by the market, and I'm going to be the second choice where they're going
Yeah.
after this. I'm going to be that move up company, not the starter company. And as soon as I did that, my profit completely turned around, and we went from one office to 17 offices. It became the largest independent in Oregon.
there's got to be a value proposition, right? Because I always say, no matter what it is that you're selling, there's two main things that people are looking for. They want their life to be easier and they want to make more money. And if you've got that formula on how that can happen, I think that it's appealing to a lot of people. I mean, who doesn't want their life to be easier? Who doesn't want to make more money? I think a lot of people go into this hard sales tactic, right?
Mhm.
Where they're like, if I tell people enough, the same thing over and over and over, eventually they're going to believe it's true and they'll succumb to
Your
my
logic.
to my will, whatever it is, right? And I
Yeah.
and I, when I hear that, that makes me cringe, right? Because I'm like, oh my gosh, that's just so wrong on the way to do that. But I'd love to hear your formula. Is it the old style selling? What is it?
Well, I think first you hit the nail on the head. I think you first have to establish your value proposition that you truly buy into. And I'd say 90% of brokers in America don't have one. And so what happens is their default is I'm going to compete based on my commission plan. And so if I have the cheapest commission plan in town, then everybody should come to work for me. But when you look at the market landscape, we all know that that's not true. Because if that were true, everybody would be working for the discount company, right? Discount meaning the lowest commission cost company to be at. So then it's like, okay, what actually attracts agents? And there's only one thing, actually two things. And you hit the nail on the head with this too. And that is what we call hard value. And hard value. And so I was in Florida 2 weeks ago and I had a whole room of brokers. And I said, guys, tell me your value proposition. Just tell me one of your key things. Every time we do this, people scratch their heads like, I don't know. What
They're
should I
like,
say?
I've got
Yeah,
coffee.
yeah, I don't know. And inevitably, what comes back is we've got a great culture, and we've got great training, and we've got a family organization. You can trust everybody in the office. We have great social events that we do. And when you hear this, I'm like, that's all great, guys, fantastic, but that's what keeps agents at your company. We call that soft value. It keeps them there, and it creates loyalty. What moves people from company A to company B, B being your company, is hard value, and hard value is only what will help them close more transactions in the next 12 months. And it's not the commission plan. Throw away the commission plan. You can't spend a commission plan. I can give you 110% of every commission dollar. If you're only closing one deal a year, it doesn't matter. You
Yeah.
can't live on that. So I got to find a way from taking you to 5 to 10 or 10 to 20 or 20 to 30. And when you can really articulate that plan that you have for people, that's what people want to hear. And when they hear it, they'll get excited about it and then they'll make the change. And then you got to back it up and say, I got the best, you got to believe it. I got the best mousetrap in my marketplace. But now, how do I get people to buy into it? How do I get the meeting? How do I have the conversation? And that's, I think, what you're talking about is the hard sell. Do I hard sell them into that, or what's the approach? And I have a strategy around that as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, okay. I mean, and I mean, we don't want you giving away all your trade secrets, but we kind of want
Right
you to
on.
give away your trade secrets.
Yeah, it's no
Uh,
secret.
I always say you could tell people exactly how to do it, and they would do something completely different every single time
100%.
anyway.
Yeah.
But okay, so cold calling, is that like how do you get them into your mousetrap? Like, okay, they've
Yeah.
got a good hard value, they've got
Yep.
a great soft value, they're
Yep.
not recruiting people. They
Yep.
need to start the conversations. I always say like you're gonna miss 100% of the agents that are looking to move if you don't talk to them. So
100%.
how do you start those conversations for people that want to recruit? And this could be any kind of sales organization too, right?
Yeah,
So
it's not. This applies to all sales organizations. It's not just real estate. But here's an interesting number around real estate, which is a couple of great studies have come out around this. Number one is that the average tenure, how long people stay at a real estate company in America, is 5 years. When you look at your market landscape, like you're in San Diego, you got tens of thousands of agents. Every one of those agents is going to make a move in the next 5 years. Now, some will make more moves and some will make less, but the average will be five, right? So you think about, man, 30,000 agents, 40,000 agents, 50,000 agents are going to make a move in the next 5 years. The question is where they're going, right? And they're never coming to you if you don't have a conversation with them. So first step is we got to figure out how am I going to have a conversation with all these people in a way that is like authentic, natural, and organic. The worst recruiting call in the world is this, and it happens every day of the week.
let's hear it. Let's hear it.
It is, hey Jed, Jim Remley over at ABC Real Estate. you know what? I was hoping I could set up a meeting with you to talk about what we can offer you at our company. I think we got a really good solution over here. You've never spoken to me before. You've never heard from my name. And you're going to say in about 2 seconds, no, I don't have time. I'm not interested. I got 10 of these calls a day, right?
I love this. So yeah, people do. They call and call and call, and they all have about the same thing. I do have to say this though. One
Yeah.
thing that I love is when people say, "I'm happy."
Yeah.
And you know what my response to that is?
Go ahead, tell me.
I love happy people. Have you ever tried working with somebody that's unhappy? You know,
I love it.
it's so horrible. So
Yeah.
that makes me want to talk to you more.
Yeah. Yeah. You get in the conversation. I love it. That's a great response. So our technique is, and we dig deep into coaching with all these things, of course, but we use a tactic of I first got to warm up the audience. They got to know who the heck I am. They got to like me. 90% of people coming to work for you, the reason they're going to come to work for you is that they have to like you. If you think about it, you can have the best mousetrap in the world, but if I don't like you, I'm still not coming to work for you. So
Yeah.
first thing is I gotta like you as a human being, and then I'll consider your mousetrap, right?
Yeah.
So first step is let's create a relationship. And so let's throw out the word recruiting, get that bad word out of our mouths, and just say, I'm going to go out and create relationships with as many people as I possibly can. And when I do, it'll open the door to recruiting conversations at some point. Some recruiting appointments will happen. So an example of that is we have a whole strategy called no recruiting recruiting, which just means that if you are on my list, Jed, and I'm somebody that I'm targeting you, I might hop onto the hot sheet this morning and see that you've taken a listing. And I might say, hey, Jed, I might text you and say, Jed, I just saw you took this new listing. Man, I just want to compliment you because I really thought your video was, man, spot on, just incredible. Good job. And nothing else. Just wanted to tell you that. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no recruiting message. It's simply, oh, Jed now is getting a compliment from me and he knows who the heck I am. And then maybe the next time I talk or I meet out to him, I say, hey, man, I just came across your social media feed and I saw you got 10,000 likes on that last post. Man, fantastic. I'd love you to, give me a couple of pointers on how I can help my agents get to those numbers. You can just warm up the relationships with honest, authentic, organic conversations. And then at some point when you get into conversation, now we start to move toward a recruiting appointment. And there's a whole process and there's a whole step-by-step approach we use to this. But that's the starting point.
Well, so let's talk about that though a little bit.
Yeah,
So
we're gonna dig
so
into it.
let's say you've got, I mean, a lot of people have more than five people that they're trying to recruit at any given time, right?
Of course, they should.
So trying to keep track of everyone
Hmm.
that you need to give sincere compliments to, that you need to follow up with, and all of that. I think for a lot of people, do they say that it's overwhelming to be able to try and keep track of everyone? Like, what's your feedback on that?
In order to recruit effectively, you got to use CRM. So you just like any agent, it's exactly the same thing. When we're coaching agents on their SOI, your SOI is your recruiting database. So your version of that. So if a strong agent might have 2, 3, 4, 500 agents that or people that they have in their database, it's the same thing for us. And we never just say to them, well, 200 or 300 is too many. You can't manage that many. You
Mhm.
can
Yeah.
if you apply CRM to it, right? And
Hmm.
so it's all about what we call a flagging for next contact. So if I've just talked to you and we had any kind of warm conversation, I'm going to come into my CRM, I'm going to update my notes, and then the most important thing I'm going to do is I'm going to flag for next contact. And I will make a note. And you can see these in my notes today. I had a great conversation with Jed. I'm going to send him a thank you card based on our conversation. Reach back out to him in 3 weeks. He said he was going to Hawaii. See how the trip goes. You know, and whatever, I'm always going to put it in context. Whatever the context of the next conversation should be, I'm going to put it in my notes so I know what to say next. And then when you're doing that, you're just using technology to power the forward momentum of your recruiting strategy.
And I know that there's a lot of great CRMs, and I always tell people the best CRM is whatever CRM you use.
Yes.
So find one, use one. Here's one topic that I hit on in my book is the ghost message or the
Mm,
ghosting.
yeah.
How do you take, getting beat up? And I
Yeah.
say beat up. I think people get beat up more in their head than they actually do in real life, right? They're more scared of what people are going to say than what people actually say
Yes.
on the other end. But there are some tough conversations that get had, or you get tossed under the bus occasionally here or there. How
Yeah.
do you and really what a lot of people do is they'll ghost you, and they say, "Oh yeah, yeah, Jim, you're amazing. Yes, I want. Oh, yeah, I agree." And then you never hear from them again. Like how do you handle that? How do you deal with that emotionally or just in general?
Well, you have to let go of outcome, number one, and not take it personally. This is and what we have to adopt and just understand is that we have to be professionally persistent, not personally persistent, which is a whole different thing. Like if I ask a girl out 10 times and she says no 10 times, I'm going to be hurt. I'm going to be emotionally damaged. But professional persistence, we have to understand if we look at it from the flip side of how many salespeople are coming at us all the time and they're trying to pitch us, pitch us, pitch us. And we just shut them down. We just delete. We don't even respond. We see the text. We don't even respond. We just, no, 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 because it's not the right moment for us. We're just not ready at this moment to buy into what they're selling, right?
Hmm.
But it's all about timing. And this is what you said earlier. People say, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, until one day they're not.
Hmm.
Right?
And it
They're like,
happens really quickly, right?
oh, it happens overnight. They get pissed at their broker. They get pissed at a colleague down the street. They get mad at the commission plan. They get mad at technology failure. And suddenly, right now, they're like, Jed's been talking to me. He's been professionally persistent for 6 months. I did have a good recruiting meeting with him. I kind of blew him off, but now I'm going to make the call. And I've had so many of those calls in my career where somebody says, I know I was going to come, but I'm ready to come today. You're like, holy crap, come on over, right? And you've had
Yeah.
it too. You're a really highly sought after recruiter as well. So I know that's what happens. It's a zero moment of truth.
Well, I mean, this ties into, I always say like timing can be everything, right? But we don't know what's the right timing. And so
Yeah.
you just keep on knocking on doors and knocking on doors, and you say, hey, you know what? You leave the flyer and call me if you need me. You know what I mean? I would say, and it sounds like just from your story right there, that's how it works. The thing that you didn't think was gonna grow, that you go and you plant something, and the seed of, hey, you know what? It'd be great to work together. Here's what I can do for you. I'm happy. I'm good. Okay. And then one day, 5 years, 7 years, I actually had somebody reach out to me 9 years after the fact, just out of the
Yeah.
blue. I barely even remembered who they were, but whatever it is that you're selling, don't discount the seed that you plant because it might just spring up at a time where you least expect it.
Yeah. Well, and the old saying, the fortunes in the follow up is never more true in recruiting. So it's all about follow up. But I'll give you a great example of this: is if everybody that's listening to this across America and across the world, Jed, you're so popular, is that when they think about this, they can think in their own markets about somebody that they did not expect to make a real estate career move. They were maybe there for 10, 20, 30 years with their last company. Like, I'm never even going to talk to them. I'm not going to try. They're never moving. They've been there forever. And they moved this year and they didn't come to you. And you say, wow, that's the missed opportunity. And we all have had missed opportunities. The missed opportunity is something you don't want to have happen to you again. And the only way is you get in front of it and you say to yourself, I'm not going to say that somebody's unrecruitable. Every single agent in your market's recruitable.
You never know what is going on with someone.
Yeah.
And I say too, no doesn't mean people don't want to know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean by that? They say, I think the easy answer is always no. And it's the people that are still stuck on, okay, well, I always say I am just stubborn. And so I will just say, okay, well, no, but why? You know, and then they'll say, well, X, Y, or Z. And I say, okay, well, if X, Y, or Z will change, then that means it's a yes. Well, I don't know. I said, well, let's just talk. It's good to know each other.
Yeah.
I think a
Sure.
lot of people go wrong. They take no and they think that they should shut down. It's a lost cause. Don't talk to anybody anymore. But I say no doesn't mean they don't want to know.
Yeah, and I think one of my good friends, Dick Califato, became one of my partners. Owned 176 offices at one point in California back in the 70s, a crusher. When he heard the word no, he would train on this. He'd say, don't hear no. Hear exactly what you're saying, Jay. Hear, I just don't KNOW. I
Yeah.
don't know enough to make a good decision, right? Because if you are truly sold and convicted on your own value proposition, in your mind, you should think to yourself, everybody in the market should be working for me. I don't know why they're not. It's just crazy that they're not working for me. And it's just I got to go out there and evangelize in a way that gets through to people. So, but back to your point, the key is sometimes in the way that people take in the information is that they're just not ready to accept what you're saying, or they're at in their career, and where they're at in the day, and where they're at in the week, and where they're at with their marriage, or where they're at what they're talking to their kids this morning,
Yep.
and we take it personally, and you can't. Sometimes you're going to break through, sometimes you're not, but your job is to stay in front of them and just stay there, be consistent, ultra consistent. That's super key. And I will say something else. In today's world, you got to do it on multiple fronts. So it can't just be calls or text. It's also got to be video text. It's also got to be social media. It's also got to be video. There's a lot of things that we got to be doing. It's also got to be postcards at home and packages for sending and all kinds of things.
It, it makes sense. I mean, you gotta hit people on multiple levels if you want them to remember you in today's world, because we're all so bombarded with
Yeah.
so much messaging, so many things going on. It's really easy to forget people, and just staying in front of people is really, really key. Number one, I really like asking people this. Do you feel successful?
No, I've never felt successful. I always feel like I'm two steps short of success. If I just climb one more mountain, I'll get there.
I love asking people this question because I think it's important that people know I interview some of the most successful people, and I've yet to have somebody say, I feel so successful. I mean, I'd love to interview Elon Musk and hear what he had to say on that. What's your biggest nugget of advice, experience that anybody ever gave you in business?
I'll tell you the best advice I ever got is this. The hardest way to make $1 million in real estate is selling real estate. The easiest way to make $1 million in real estate is owning real estate. And so I always treated my real estate career as a vehicle to more ownership of real estate. And because of that, I've done pretty well. And anybody that's, young in the business, really take that home, because even though we can make great livings, and we all do that are successful, the goal is to buy more real estate, to practice what we preach. So that's the best advice I ever got, and I really took it to heart when I was in my early 20s.
And look at you now, so I mean, you're in a position where you're not having to sell. Do you still sell some?
No, in fact, when I buy things, I use an agent because
You're
I'm too
like, I
do
don't
all the
want to
work
have to deal with
myself.
all of these
I'm not going to
things.
do all this crap. I have great agents that I surround myself with, and I'm still
Surely.
licensed. I'm still a principal broker. I still
What
answer questions, and
you
I can still
recruited,
do
you
it.
recruited most of the good agents, so
I
of
did. That's
course
why
you're
I don't.
surrounded with great agents. Um, that's some really good advice. And I think one person once told me, they said, Jed, the worst mistake I ever made was selling some of my real estate. And basically they would have made a lot more money had they held on to it and bought more real estate. So I think
Totally.
what you're saying is very, very wise. You've got a lot of things going on. You help a lot of people. How can people reach out to you? And where can they find you? I know you've got your own podcast too, which I'd love for you to give a plug on
Yeah.
that so people can check it out. And then, like I said, if people need your services, they're like, hey, listen, I need some help with recruiting good people. How can they reach out to you?
Well, I tell you right now, people think sometimes it's this isn't the time to recruit, but it absolutely is. There's a brand new study out from 1,000 Watt Agent just came out last week. 32% of agents, all agents in America, are considering an office change in the next 12 months. Think about that, one third in this year.
Wow.
It jumps to over 52% for agents that are under 35 years old.
Wow.
So if you think there's not an opportunity in your market, you're dead wrong. There's opportunity in every market in America for recruiting, and you should really take advantage of it. But if people want to check me out, they can go to like elephant, eRealEstateCoach.com. And we've got a free seminar over there that's all about recruiting. We call it Rockstar Recruiting. People can sign up for that and check it out. We also got a link to our podcast over there. We've had a ton of great guests, including my good friend Jed here, who's been on the podcast.
And it
So
was
he,
a pleasure to be able to be hosted by you.
yes, thank you. And then we just have a lot of free tools over there you can check out too. So, and then I'm all over social media. My social media handle is eRealEstateCoach.
Real estate coach.
Yep.
Jim, I know you've got other really important things to get to, but I really appreciate the fact that you spent this time with us. I think everybody is going to find a lot of value in and just the couple of tips that you gave as far as with the recruiting And I think that this is going to be really, really successful, people. If you do want more information, do check out Jim's website, eRealEstateCoach.com. He truly is a great resource for anyone looking to recruit talent. So thank you again, Jim. We're looking forward to connecting with you again in the future.
My pleasure, buddy.
See the future in my head.